I just want to complain and rant today. Today's video is not going to be a review. It is not going to be educational. It is simply going to be me sharing my grievances, hot takes, and unpopular opinions about fragrance and the fragrance community in general, because once in a while, you just have to get some things off your chest. So let's get started. Opinion number one. I have decided that I do not care about overspraying and offending other people around me anymore. I know that this is controversial. And I know in a lot of cultures, like in Asian cultures, it's very disrespectful to the people around you to wear loud, strong smelling perfumes because people can have allergies. What if they don't like your perfume? All this stuff. I have decided that I simply do not care. Okay? I don't care. I am going to overspray myself and spray my perfumes as much as I want because I like it. And what I've realized is there are all kinds of things that people do, that we do in society that offend other people, yet those people are not forced or pressured to change what they're doing. Even in just the small category of smell. For example, there are people who have pets who will go to a restaurant covered in cat hair and dog hair and hamster hair, whatever. And you can oftentimes smell the aroma of feline and gerbils in the air. And never once in my life have I ever gone over to one of those individuals and said, "Excuse me, ma'am, you smell like a hot, wet gerbil and a dog-cat sandwich today. Can you please go home and get rid of your pets and never do that again?" No, I'm not allowed to do that, right? That would be seen as inconsiderate and rude. I have to tolerate your dog and pet smell and not complain. So if I want to bathe myself in Baccarat Rouge and layer it with Herba Pura, please don't complain, okay? I tolerate your smells, you tolerate my smells. It is what it is. We go and live our life. There are also people who may not like to bathe themselves as much, right? Maybe they don't realize it, maybe they don't want to, maybe they can't, I don't know. There are people who we don't all have the same hygiene type of routines. Or there are people who may eat a really intense, potent tuna fish sandwich and not eat a mint or gum afterward and go about their day saying words like hello loudly with a lot of airflow behind it. I don't say anything to those people. I may not enjoy the aroma in the air, but I just keep it moving. So again, excuse me if I don't care that you can smell me down the hallway because I have bathed myself in 10 different perfumes. I will continue to do so. Opinion number two, this whole debate about maturing, whether or not it's real or it's not real. There are a lot of people who feel like when you get a perfume, especially a lot of Middle Eastern perfumes, if you let it sit and wait after spraying it a few times for weeks to a few months, the scent will change. It will become stronger, or certain notes will become better, it'll become more blended, whatever. And people argue about whether or not that's macerating or blah, blah, blah. There are other people who push back against that and say that's not true because all of the maturation, whatever, has already been done by the actual perfume company. So when you receive your perfume, it's already ready. And what you are experiencing in a few months is not the perfume changing, it's you. You are the problem. Your nose wasn't ready, and now your nose is ready, and so the problem was never the perfume. My opinion is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it is actually coming from the perfume changing. It doesn't matter if it's coming from our nose changing. I think the point that people are trying to express when they share that is that I bought this perfume on April 1st. It's now July 1st, and the perfume experience that I'm having is different. That's the point. That's the takeaway. Whether it's due to you changing or due to the actual perfume changing, I think that debate, honestly, is pointless. Who cares? The real message is that sometimes when you smell a perfume, you may not have the full experience of how you feel about that perfume if you were to just give it some time. Whether that is a Middle Eastern fragrance or a designer fragrance or even a niche fragrances, I have had different experiences smelling a niche fragrance months later than the first time. I'm not going to keep myself up at night trying to figure out the physics and science behind what is actually happening. I just know that the experience is different, and it's likely probably a mixture of both. If you're asking me, someone who's not a perfumer, who doesn't know anything about the real science behind perfumes and what can happen, my guess is that it's a blend of both. I think it's a blend of the perfume changing itself over time, and also a blend of you and your olfactory experience and what you're picking up on that day at that particular time in life also changing. And I mean, there are days when I will pick up a perfume that I've smelled hundreds of times that I'm no longer impressed with, or vice versa, right? But there are also bottles when I'll have multiple bottles of the same perfume and I'll smell a new bottle of that perfume in comparison to an old bottle, and I'm telling you, they smell different. So in my opinion, it's a blend of the two, but I don't care. I think we get lost in the sauce, and the actual point is just that your perfume experience can change over time. My next opinion is I get really fed up and tired and irritated by the elitism in the fragrance community, and it shows itself in different ways. Now, I don't typically experience this with people that I'm actually, meeting and talking to in real life about fragrance, but on the internet, right? When people are just choosing to comment something, I really feel like people get off on trying to make you feel smaller and trying to make themselves feel bigger by imposing their fragrance knowledge on you in a completely unsolicited way. A few examples. Number one, people love to critique others on how they use a smell strip. Whenever someone uses the fat end of the smell strip, like I oftentimes do, as opposed to using the small strip, people love to come into your comment section and say, ma'am, you are doing it wrong. You're not supposed to be doing it that way. You're supposed to use the small stick so it can get right up into your nose and you can smell more. Listen, bro, if I go like this, or if I go like this, I'm telling you, the experience for me is very similar. I don't need to get this small little strip all the way up into my brain to get an idea of what the actual smell of the perfume is. I like to use the fat strip because when I am using a perfume to spray onto the strip, I feel like I am wasting more when I do the little small one, especially if I'm using a perfume that has an atomizer that is not great, doesn't have a very wide distribution, and it's like a smaller, thin stream, it's narrow. I will miss the strip oftentimes when it's the little small one and it's annoying and I waste perfume. I prefer to use the fat strip and just put it right up to my nose like this. I find it easier to smell, and I'm gonna keep doing that. I don't really care if that is improper or whatnot. It doesn't really matter. Does it really matter that much? I don't think so. I think there are bigger variables in how you could smell a perfume, like whether or not you're smelling it on skin, whether or not you're smelling it on clean skin. Just the fact that my skin is different from your skin, that is going to have a bigger impact on the differences that I perceive in the overall scent, more than which side of the damn strip I'm using. Another elitist thing that I see people do all the time is correct other people on how to say the perfume name. Listen, I don't know about you, maybe you, whoever is watching this video, maybe you're a polyglot who speaks multiple languages. I barely speak English, okay? I barely speak English. We have perfume names that are in Arabic, that are in French, that are in Spanish, that are in all different kinds of languages. And even if you try to read the way that a fragrance name is read, where you place emphasis on which syllable, you're probably not going to know that unless you are told that directly by someone from that country. And even if you do try to say that name properly, it's still never going to sound exactly the same as someone who is native from that country. I don't see why that's a big deal and why we have to critique people. What annoys me even more is when people try to veil it in like, oh, I'm just trying to be helpful. I'm just trying to help you. Girl or bro, I can tell when someone's trying to be sassy, okay? You can read when people are trying to be sassy in a comment. It's very apparent. If I just made a 20-minute long video breaking down all these different fragrances, and the only thing that you have to comment to me is it's pronounced Trafalgar, not Trafalgar or Trafalgar, bro, is it really that necessary? I don't understand it. I really don't. I've never once in my life corrected anyone on how they're pronouncing a perfume. Maybe it's also though because my family is from Ghana and I was born in Germany. So my first language was actually German. And then we came over here and we learned to speak English. So my parents, my aunties, my uncles, a lot of my cousins, they all have accents. If it's not a Ghanaian accent, it's a British accent because they live in England, or it's an Italian accent because they live in Italy, but it's always like an Italian accent with a Ghanaian accent kind of mixed in together. My husband, for example, when he first met my dad, had a hard time understanding what he was saying because he feels like he has a thick accent. To me, he's my dad. I can understand everything he's saying, of course, because I'm used to his Ghanaian accent. It doesn't even sound like an accent to me, but I can completely understand how it would sound like he has an accent to my husband. But my husband never once in a million years thought to correct my dad on how he was saying something because he understands he has an accent and he's not speaking in his first native language. I don't understand why people don't apply that same type of philosophy or thinking to perfume names. That's just me. So whenever I see those type of comments, usually I just ignore them because, again, it just comes off elitist and unnecessary. Next opinion is about why do people actually hate on dupes? I don't think it's because they think it's inferior, and I don't think it's because they think that they're stealing other companies' works. I think people hate on dupes because it makes them feel inferior. Why? Because a lot of people like to buy niche perfume, not because they actually think that that niche perfume is higher quality or better. It's because of the status. It's because you get to walk around saying you're wearing a $600 Guerlain fragrance that is very bougie and expensive. I buy Guerlain fragrances because I truly think that they are higher quality. I don't give a damn about the name. And if a dupe were to ever actually be one-to-one to a Guerlain, great. I don't think that has happened yet, but that's why I wear them. And the reason why I think it has more to do about status and not about the whole, like, oh, you're stealing another person's work, is because it has now been proven time and time again that there are a ton of perfume houses like Parfums de Marly that oftentimes will dupe other DNAs. And it's not just them. A lot of niche fragrances dupe other DNAs. I never hear any of these niche-only people say anything about any of these perfume houses. They still wear those perfumes, they still promote those perfumes, they never call them out for duping. Why? Because those perfumes are still more than $300. So they are still allowed in the circle of bougie, elite perfume people. I think it's absolutely ridiculous and absolutely nonsense. And the reality is, for me to feel bigger than you, for me to feel superior to you with my $500 perfume, it requires that you cannot have what I have. The moment that you can have what I have, that same smell with sometimes better performance, longevity at a fraction of the price, well, now I feel like an idiot. And now I have to sit at the same lunch table as you. No, ma'am. I want to be better than you. So you have to be down there. It's ridiculous. It's silly. It may ruffle some feathers, but honestly, those two people to me are not true fragrance lovers. I said it. I think you're not a true fragrance lover, because if you were a true fragrance lover, it would not matter the name of the brand. It would just be about the smell. Now, if you're someone who's like, I'm collecting fragrances for the bottles, well, that's a whole different person. I'm talking about people who are just talking about the smell. If I give you 2 strips and you smell one and you say you like that smell better and it's the dupe and you're like, oh, it's a dupe, no, I gotta pick the niche one. You're not a true fragrance lover. You're someone who likes perfume, but you also like the status and the elitism that can come from wearing expensive perfumes, which that's fine, but you're out of touch with most people who don't have your kind of money, who don't have the ability to be sent tons and tons of perfumes for free. And unfortunately, you are just growing further and further away from the average person. I said what I said. Next opinion is that mass appealing smells, I know they get a lot of hate, right? Safe mass appealing smells, safe designer fragrances get a lot of hate because they are considered boring. But the truth of the matter is that safe, boring, mass appealing fragrances are mass appealing because they're good. They're good to most people, right? That's why they're popular. Your very unique profile of a scent is a masterpiece and great to you. But to the masses of people who are not, knee deep into the fragrance space, into the fragrance community, they just want to smell good. And they just want to have other people who walk past them smell good. So of course, a company that is looking to market to the majority of people, what are they going to do? They're going to reproduce DNAs that are safe, that are very similar in style, and it's because they are appeasing what the people want. So I don't think it's the fault of the brands that they are making these safe, fruity, musky, vanilla, whatever kind of scent profiles. It's the fault of the masses of our society that we like a certain type of DNA over and over and over and over again, with slight variances. That's the majority. That's not me, that's not you, because people like me and you, if you're watching a fragrance video like this, you are a fragrance lover, you are in the fragrance community, you are a hobbyist, you're at a different level. You're not a casual, average smeller of perfume. So of course, your desire and your interest of what you want to smell is going to be at a different level than someone who's just looking to go and buy a Viva La Juicy fragrance for their wife because it's a pretty bottle and it smells good. I have a similar desire to smell DNAs that are unique and interesting, but I also don't look down upon the people who just want to go into Macy's and pick up a new designer fragrance that to me smells like everything else in the market, but to them, it just smells good. I totally get that. My next opinion has to do with gender labels. I know that technically speaking, all fragrance is neutral and any male or female can wear anything that they want to wear. However, I will always use masculine and feminine when describing scents because I think it's helpful to people. I'm sorry, it is helpful to people. If a man wants to wear Dama Bianca, you can go and do that. Would I want my husband to wear Dama Bianca? No, because I consider this to be a very feminine type of scent profile. I want him to smell what I consider to be traditionally masculine. So I don't want him to wear this, and I would not want him to accidentally buy Dama Bianca because he's just reading it based off of notes that he thinks is good, but doesn't realize, no, this is a very traditional feminine type of scent. So I totally get the neutrality of gender norms in fragrance, but I still find it helpful when actually trying to describe scent to people. So those are just a few opinions that I have been wanting to get off of my chest. I'm sure I probably ruffled a few feathers, but it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I will see you guys back tomorrow for our next episode.